Shane Van Gisbergen completes his first NASCAR race at Talladega and finishes in 22nd. What's going on, guys? It's Daniel, and welcome back to our video. As I just said a second ago, Shane Van Gisbergen completed his first NASCAR Top Series race at Talladega Superspeedway and finishes in 22nd. Despite finishing 22nd, SVG ran way better today, in my opinion. That 22nd position that he got today did not show how fast he was for a majority of this race. He qualified about 17th or 18th, but as the race progressed early, Shane Van Gisbergen was moving forward and was getting up inside the top 10. And by the end of stage number 1, Shane Van Gisbergen actually got up to 7th or 8th. And at the end of stage number 1, he was actually able to grab stage points, which I believe is only the second time this year that Shane Van Gisbergen have been able to grab stage points. Then he stayed up inside the top 15 and 20 pretty much the whole entire race. And as the race progressed and went on, he started moving forward. He got inside the top 15. Then he got inside the top 10. Then he got inside the top 5. And then eventually, he even got to the lead at one point about halfway through this race. And for majority of the rest of this race, Shane Van Gisbergen was able to run inside the top 5 and top 10 for the last 25 to 30 laps of this event. And it looked like that SVG was going to be in a grand position and a great opportunity to pick up his first career Xfinity Series victory. Unfortunately, coming to the white flag of the race, Austin Hill and Parker Kligerman crashed, and a lot of drivers have nowhere to go in that wreck. Luckily for Shane Van Gisbergen, he missed all the big ones and the wrecks and restarted around 4th position on the second to last restart. Unfortunately for Shane Van Gisbergen, he runs out of gas coming to the restart line and loses all of his ground. Luckily for SVG, he gets a little bit of a break. Despite running out of gas, SVG is able to stay on the lead lap, and there's a big wreck that happens between Parker Kligerman, Sheldon Creed, and Josh Williams, who of course is a teammate of him. And then they go to the final restart with SVG having enough gas, and I thought at one point he was going to be restarting 16th, but instead restart about 22nd or 23rd. Ryan Ellis ended up spinning out, and Shane Van Gisbergen really had nowhere to go and lost a lot of ground and ends up coming home with a 22nd place finish. Again, really tough break for Shane Van Gisbergen because, like, in my opinion, SVG was doing a really amazing and great job. I didn't think that SVG would be as fast today as he was. I know that the call cars historically have been really, really great at the super speedways, which is kind of wild considering that I believe the call cars this year, at least in Xfinity Series and Cup as well, but especially in Xfinity, have not had the same strength and speed they've had in previous years and in previous seasons. So to see Shane have the speed he had today outside of a road course is really compelling. I think for real, this was the best race that SVG was having on an oval up to this point. Yes, it is a super speedway, but he was legitimately in the top 15 and top 20 all day long. And that 22nd place finish, like I said, does not reflect on how well he was performing throughout the race today. And I expected as the year goes on that he is going to get better at these types of tracks. Obviously, unfortunately, we're out of gas. That's more on the crew chief. They're making some questionable strategy calls. I feel like they should have taken 2 tires a lot more. They were taking a lot of 4-tire strategies, but luckily for them, they weren't the only one that were taking 4 tires throughout the race. There were a lot of drivers that I saw that were taking 4 tires, and I really thought they were going to be in a prime position to win. But like I said, they ran out of gas. They probably should have come down pit road with Haley Deegan and Sammy Smith and Matt Benedetto and those guys at the end. They probably should have come down pit road and came in and topped off with guys like Cole Custer as well. But they decided to stay out. And to be fair, they might have got caught up in some of the incident wrecks at the end of the race if there was a wreck at the end. But unfortunately, they didn't get that wreck on the final restart. And like I said, I really was impressed with the speed that Shane Van Gisbergen was showing in the race today. And again, I know a lot of people are going to say, 22nd isn't a great run. But if you watch the whole entire race, you saw him progressively getting better. He was making some really great moves as well. Was making some 2-wide moves. Was making some 3-wide moves. He was making some pretty impressive and really awesome moves out on the racetrack, and that's what we want to see from Shane Van Gisbergen. We want to see him improve throughout these races, and today, he was improving throughout the race. This, to me, like I said, was probably his best oval race he's had so far. I still think the best race he's had legitimately was Circuit of the Americas and Xfinity up to this point, but he's had some good runs at other tracks. And this is not only the third finish outside the top 20, but realistically today, where he finished does not reflect on how he ran. There were a lot of other drivers who finished up front today that didn't reflect on how they run. Haley Deegan's a perfect example. She was running inside, the outside the top 30 most of the day. She had a little strategy, finishes 12th, which, by the way, a really great run for her. Matt DiBenedetto got a really solid finish today. But going back to SVG, I really do think he's going to win a race at some point this year in 2024, and I do think it's going to come either at a super speedway or a road course. If they could just find a way to have enough gas like it did at Atlanta, I think they're going to be in prime position to win because the call of cars today looked very, very good today. Josh Williams had a lot of speed. AJ Allmendinger had a lot of speed today, and we saw today a ton of speed from Shane Van Gisbergen, and this is just a lot of learning that he gets to do for tomorrow, because remember, he gets to run the NASCAR Cup Series tomorrow afternoon if the race ends up happening, which, looking at the weather forecast for the race, it does look a lot better and a lot more promising. And if SVG has a great run tomorrow, we'll talk about it. But I think having the experience from today, which, by the way, he's starting at 17, which is about where he started in the Xfinity Series race today, I think that SVG could take that experience and be up front. Though the call cars in the Cup Series are not as strong as they are in Xfinity, though I do believe that Trackhouse might be repairing his car. And he needs to get better at these types of tracks as well. Because if he continues to get better, it will help when he goes Cup racing more than likely next season. Because I do think that he is going to be full-time in the Cup Series in 2025. That's a prediction I have for this season. I think they're going to get a charter product from Kaulig Racing, or they're going to have a partnership with Kaulig. I just think that SVG is continuing to show a lot of improvement this season, and he is continuing to get better on a week-by-week basis. Granted, he's not going out there winning races, but the cars haven't been as fast as some of these types of tracks, and Kaulig's been struggling at points this season, but I do think that Shane Van Gisbergen has been showing a ton of improvement throughout the 2024 season, and I think he's only going to get better. I think he's going to get stronger, and I think he is going to win a few races by the end of this year. I predicted he's probably going to get his wins a lot later in the season. He's got some great tracks coming up going forward, hopefully. He's got some road courses happening like Sonoma. Watkins Glen have got that race circled at the end of years. I think that Shane Van Gisbergen is going to be very fast. I know 20 seconds is a little bit of a disappointing finish, but for him to show the pace and speed that he had today, if you're a Shane Van Gisbergen fan, you've got to be very, very excited about that. It's a shame he didn't get the finish that he deserved, because I don't think where he finished today is where he deserved to finish, but he did show a lot of promise and a lot of speed out on the racetrack today. The finish doesn't reflect where he ran all day long. He ran top 10 most of the day. He does at least finish on a lead lap, and the biggest thing is he's completing laps. It's what he's got to do here to make sure he has enough. Nonetheless, 20 seconds where he finished, a little disappointing, but nonetheless, he has shown a lot of promise so far this year in 2024. So, that is Gimmer today's special Shane Van Gisbergen news report. I want to thank you guys for watching. Please subscribe to the channel, notifications on, so if I win a video, it does go live on my channel. Follow me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, and support my Patreon as well. Let's go to more of that and comment your thoughts below on today's video. How would you rate Shane Van Gisbergen's performance in the race today? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Tomorrow on the channel, we have the NASCAR Cup Series starting lineup for the Cup Series race at Talladega for the Geico 500. Then tomorrow, we'll have the NASCAR Cup Series race if the race happens, which, looking at the weather forecast, it has improved, so we should be racing tomorrow afternoon. Maybe we'll have delayed start, though. And then we're also going to have an SVG video potentially as well dropping on the channel. And Monday, we'll probably have a NASCAR news video. So anyways, like I said, I want to thank you guys for watching today's episode, and I'll see you guys next time for more great, awesome NASCAR content and other motorsports content on the channel like this. Take care, everybody.